I just signed a lease.
So this is my little salon here, and let me show you how it all went about. But before I take you inside, I feel like I need to take you all the way back to the beginning. And yeah, it was before this little meeting as well. So I actually took over my first salon back in 2015, but due to COVID and a few other things, I ended up moving into the salon that I'm currently in now, which looks like this. Well, it did anyway. Well, that's what it looked like 4 years ago. Anyway, this is what the place looks like now. It's very black, but let me show you around. I must say, it is actually a very beautiful salon. It's a very spacious salon. Beautiful big mirrors. It's actually quite comfortable, especially for like having quite a few people that work here. We have a staff room off to the side. The two rooms that you see that are closed are beauty rooms, and then down the back we have like the toilet and the kitchen. Very plain Jane, I know. So like I pointed out, these are beauty rooms that are currently being leased out, and then one of them I have to show you, it's actually quite cute. Let me see, let me turn the light on. It's very pink, very girly. We have someone in here that does nails, but let me close the door because like I said, this is her space. And then the other room, even though it is ideally used for beauty, the girl in there currently using it for beauty, she's actually using it as a podcast studio. So this is her little podcast room, a little bit different, I know. And then next door to that one, hang on, let me just work out how to close the door again. So I turn back around and the next room is a little bit of a mess, but this is our laundry and color stock area. It's a busy workspace, so there is stuff everywhere. But you know what? This is the honest truth, and this is how it happens. And all this stuff here, this is all my color stock. I do try and keep it in a neat and tidy kind of order, but at the end of the day, when you're busy, things just get shoved. Anyone that works in a salon knows that's exactly how it happens. And yeah, going back to it, this is our little staff room. It's actually quite spacious considering how many people we have here. Yes, we also have security cameras, and the handy thing about having this TV here is if we are tucked away in here having our lunch, we can see if our client walks in the door. These are our basins, and yeah, ideally it's quite a spacious salon. I would like to have a little bit more space around the basins, but you've got to work with what you've got. And here you go, this is it. Now the story here, I've actually already been here for 4 years. So I had my other salon, COVID happened, and then yeah, it just became too much, especially with how unsecure everything was during COVID. So I decided to close that particular salon and then just move my business over to this salon. And I've actually been renting a chair here for 4 years. And then just before Christmas, I had the opportunity to come up and yes, make an application to take over the business. But to do so, I needed to take out a loan. So that was me applying online with my little doggy in the corner here while I'm watching TV on my day off. I was applying for a business loan, and everything was kind of up in arms. I had no idea if it was going to happen. All I could do was rock up to work every day and cross my fingers to see if the bank was going to give me the loan, especially for the fact that the lady who owned the salon kept telling me that she already had another buyer, so it was kind of making me a little bit nervous. But then I finally got the message from the bank to say, you've been approved. And what do you say? Bob's your uncle, funny's your aunt? There you go, it was mine. There was a little bit more to that, but yeah, it definitely bit tongue-tied now. It definitely took me a little while to have it all sink in. I also kind of remember standing there for a bit going, what next? So the next step was actually to head back into the city. We had to have a meeting with a real estate. That was my partner here. He had to help co-sign for me. And then afterwards, I actually went and sat down at the park by myself. My partner had to head back to work. And I was just like, oh my God.
Holy fucking shit, I just signed a lease. I am now officially a salon owner. It's kind of crazy. Like, I feel like it hasn't fully sunk in. It's gonna sink in.
So I head back to the salon the next day, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and unfortunately, this is what I found. I still have never learnt the story behind this one, but someone had come along and removed every single broken tile that was on the footpath in front of not just my salon, but the two businesses on either side. I actually was the one that placed the brick there because this metal capping was sticking out. I did end up informing the real estate and they told me they were looking into it. But yeah, I still never found out what exactly happened. But the first thing that I wanted to do was actually head into my local Bunnings because I needed to pick up some supplies. We also needed to get some things for the back room, coffee, tea, and milk. So Costco it was. Oh yeah, and lots of toilet paper because your girl likes to wee. Oh yeah, and get your tough man to pick up all the heavy stuff for you. Serve you back. Yeah, the first few days felt a little bit surreal. I mean, it's not like I was a new business owner or anything like that. I've been running a business for over 10 years now. And yeah, I've just gone from obviously renting the chair in the salon to now being the one that owns it. And yeah, I definitely spilled water all over the floor there. The first few days were actually a little bit quiet on my books. And so I was actually trying to come up with ideas for content for my social media. And I just thought, how about I just make some content of me cleaning the salon? A lot of people just think it's all fun and games being a hairdresser, but sometimes you just got to do things. Oh yeah, I forgot about this one. The eucalyptus tree in front of the salon had bloomed. But yeah, back into work. Yeah, I'm one of these people that just get very easily distracted, and you can do that when you got no one around. I kept looking at that brick. That brick was really doing my head in. But one of the first things I really wanted to tackle was actually their staff room because I really wanted more space. So the big thing was to get my partner in to help me out. We did need to get a few more supplies, but it was to build the cabinets. It was a huge thing because we had so much stuff that was already in the room. You actually kind of don't realize how much color stock you have until you start going through it. My partner so nicely was the one that first started, and I said, yeah, I'm going to help by making him a coffee and setting up the tripod because I wanted some content. Yeah, that's all I know how to do. No, but this is me telling him, do you need to read the instructions? Do you need to read the instructions? And he's saying, I don't need to read the instructions because I'm a man, And yeah, it definitely took us a while to work out how to build this one. But I felt like once we built one, we'll know how to do them all. I felt like I'm glad that he definitely was here with me because the fact that he needed my help showed me that there was no way in the world I was going to do this by myself. Lucky these things don't actually need any power tools, just a good hammer to whack things into place, which is actually quite handy. The whole reason behind wanting to get more storage. Oh yeah, by the way, I actually did do some work. See, this is me. Look, I'm using the hammer. See, I do know how to build stuff. Kind of. I'm not 100% useless. I can do things. See, woman power. But yeah, this was the only one that I did, and I made him build the rest of them because I was on color wash duty. But anyway, the reason why I wanted some more color shelves put into the staff room, so we got rid of those other ones and had these ones made, is because we do have 2 spare chairs and I would like to lease them out to someone else. Oh, I never mentioned this. So this salon, there's no staff. So I've had a staff, I think at one stage I had at most 4 staff members at the same time. And I think I just learnt that I don't like telling people what to do. This is my opinion is people that work, I mean, I'm not talking about people that are kids. People that are adults. See, this is me helping. This is having a rest. Going back to it. So I feel like adults shouldn't need to be told what to do. And I don't want to have to be an adult to children. And so I just kind of decided I'm just going to go off and work by myself, which is why I lease a chair. Yeah, in case you're wondering what I'm doing here, I'm taking photos of all these colors because they actually don't belong to me. And I just wanted to make sure that when I put them back, I was putting them back in order because anyone who works in a salon understands that we have our colors in order because it makes it so much quicker and easier for us, because it's one thing to kind of diagnose someone's hair and work out what they want done with their hair color. It's another thing to go and mix it up yourself. And if nothing is in order, then it just makes things so much more confusing. Especially with the fact that your client's sitting there going, what the hell is taking so long? I want my head on. I just realized that what I was saying before made absolutely no sense. What I meant to say was, I'm an adult and I don't want to be telling other adults what to do, because at the end of the day, they are not children. I shouldn't have to tell them to sweep the floor or when to go have lunch or anything like that. So this salon is absolutely great. Like I said, we have no staff. Everyone here is their own business owner and they work for themselves. So everyone has their own set keys. They work their own hours. They do their own thing. They take all their own clients. Sorry, in the background, that's my dog running around. But even though everyone does their own thing, one of the great things about this particular salon is we all get along like an absolute house on fire, which is absolutely fantastic. But building these shelves, like I mentioned before, I do have 2 chairs that are available, and I would love for at least one person to come and lease them out. I only want one person because I feel like there's not enough space for 2. But to have someone come and lease out these stations, I need a space for them to be able to put all their belongings. Because as you can tell just from a little bit of this stock coming out, this is only half of one person's stock. Hairdressers have a lot of stuff. Not just the tools that we use to cut your hair or the colour bowls that we're using to apply. We're talking about thousands of dollars worth of hair dyes and different chemicals that we use to do all the things that we do. Anyway, we're up to finally taking those cube shelves out of the storeroom there. I always thought that they weren't that convenient, but yep, it's up to me now. I can finally get rid of them. And now it is finally time to start putting the shelves on the wall. My partner had to screw in some points because we wanted to make sure these were all secure. As another thing now of being a business owner, you have to be concerned about the OH&S, occupational health and safety, and make sure things are compliant. We don't want to have anything falling over on anyone. So making sure that we can screw all these in properly. And now I'm finally like, oh my god, now it's time for me to take all my colours out. I felt like I didn't realise how much I had in there. And then it was also at this point when we were starting to take things out, we realised, oh my goodness, I found a bobby pin. There was so much dust. Like, it's amazing how much things accumulate. I remember even finding a comb that had fallen behind the shelf there. And one of the other things that really amazed me, like you can see that big line on the wall there, it's actually dust and it was all coming from the dryer. I didn't realize how many colors I had, but lucky for me, I was able to try and keep them in order so that way when I needed to go use my color stock again, I wasn't going to get myself all confused. Finally managing to get that shelving unit out of the room, and I gave it another big sweep, and oh my goodness, can you see all the gunk on the wall? Like, I don't even know what that is. Like, I gave it a good spray, and I actually used this scraper. I don't know if it is like some kind of oil. I have no idea what the hell it was, but it was behind the shelf. And the only person that would have made that mess would have been me, because I'm the only person that used that shelf to mix up hair dye. I felt like there was a million back and forths later before finally being able to pull out the last cube. It was all covered in white stuff. It was actually washing powder from using the washing machine. And yeah, it's amazing how much laundry fluff, is that what you call it? Laundry fluff, laundry dust? It just accumulates everywhere in a laundry. So I had to make sure I cleaned up all of that because, I don't know, is it a fire hazard? I wouldn't have a clue. But then we could finally push in our next lot of cubes. Wait, no, they're not cubes. Shelves. I'm so used to having cubes there. We finally have shelves. And check this one out. Like a glove. And now it's finally time to start packing some things up. And it was kind of a bit of an adjustment. I had to kind of work out which way I wanted to place things. So this is where we keep some of our capes and towels. It's generally just a few cleaning products. My capes and towels and one of the other ladies who rents a hairdressing chair here. So here is my partner putting together 2 of the shelves that we're going to be using to stock our color stock. Now, in case you're wondering why he is placing some wooden, would you call it wooden backing on the sides, is I kind of informed him that because we stack all our little color tubes up, they could fall out the side, and that would be really annoying, especially for the fact that a lot of us here, it was actually pretty noisy, the machine that he was using. A lot of us here, we do use the same colors, and even though we all love each other very much, at the end of the day, you just don't want to cause any arguments because, you know, when one business is buying their own stock, you don't want another business stealing from them. It's never happened, but you just don't know, and you just want to make sure that the peace is kept. I had to leave this in here because I thought this was quite funny. Here's my partner working very hard, and I'm just sitting there watching him work, you know, playing the supervisor role. Is that what you'd want to call it? He is inputting another backing in. We decided on each shelves we only really needed to put a backing, or a side, I keep saying a backing, it's not a backing, but we only needed to put a board up on the top two rows, because that's generally where people keep their color stock. People don't usually put colors down the bottom because we can't be bothered having to bend over all the time. We didn't need to put anything up against the back because these shelves are going to be screwed right up against the wall, so that was great. Every time he went to go use that power saw, I felt the need to have to cover my ears because wow, it really echoes in that salon. But we finally managed to finish one, and it was finally time to screw it onto the wall, and that way we could double check and see how secure it was. And I feel like we actually did a pretty good job. So we're just placing those boards in. They're not screwed in, they're just placed in. But here you can kind of see what I mean. I was able to push the color tubes. Maybe I've got the camera in the wrong angle there, but we were able to push the color tubes up against the wall there. Yeah, this isn't my stock, so this is the bloke that rents out the chairs from me. Oh, here you go. That's what I mean. See, I pushed them up against the wall, and that helps us kind of keep them in order. It took me a fair while to kind of work out exactly where I wanted everything to go. I had taken pictures of all his stock, so I kind of worked out exactly the kind of order that he likes to keep things in. But I didn't actually realize that Alan here does have a lot of stock, and that's when it clicked to me, because of this cabinet that sits there, he's going to lose some space. So then I ended up taking stuff out of the shelves, out of the cabinet as well, because I went through there and I found a whole bunch of junk. Like there was rag towels and everything that had just been hiding up there. So I said to him, you know what, you can have all of this, like all those little blue containers. I actually realized they're mine. They're all bobby pins. And I knew I could move them to another spot. I definitely have another space in one of my trolleys where I could put them, and that way he can put more of his stock up there. So hopefully that keeps him happy. And then guess who rocked up to work? I said to him, what the hell are you doing here? It's public holiday. But then I realized I'm working too. So that's the thing. When you work for yourself, you get to work when you want. That's great. I didn't actually realize that he had a client coming in that day, and we didn't really want to be making too much of a racket when a client is coming in, because whether or not you are working in a salon or paying as a client, you know that, you know, someone pays a lot of money to come into a hairdressing salon. They don't want to be hearing power tools go off. They want to come in to relax. That's what you come into the salon to relax for. That's also why people say don't bring kids to the salon. While I was putting all that stock away, Matt had already finished building the other two shelves, which is great. So the next shelf, the middle one, is going to be mine. I just felt like I just wanted to keep all my belongings in the same kind of position that I had it before. So here's me trying to work out where I want to put all my stock. Matt hadn't cut up the extra wooden boards yet, so we could have like a side panel, just because we had this client in the room, and I said to him, I really don't want you using a power tool making all this racket when there's a lady here trying to relax. So I thought we'll just do things that are nice and quiet for now, and that is to put away my colors. This is when I realized I have a lot of colors, and this isn't even all of it, but this is just some of the permanent hair dyes. I couldn't really show you the semi-permanents because they sit on the shelf below. I could sit there and adjust the tripod, but my mind was kind of just on put stock away mode. Yeah, that was a lot of colors. So I'd skipped forward a bit here, and by this time I'd finally managed to bring in all my stock. And yes, we also have a shelf on the other side. I decided to keep the shelf that was on the opposite side here kind of free for everyone, so you can kind of turn around and mix all your colours. Bit of extra space to store things like gloves and towels and capes and all that kind of bits and pieces. One of the trolleys, another trolley, washing basket, all the rest of it. And here you go, here is the angle from the other side, and it kind of gives you a really good idea of what's going on. And then this is when my partner goes, hang on, I haven't screwed this one to the wall yet. I'm like, oh, okay. So at least this one is now really secure. Well, once it was in anyway. It took us a little while to get adjusted because we needed to make sure that we still had plenty of space to be able to pull in like the washing basket, plenty of space for people I'm tongue-tied again, for people to be able to get in and use the washing machine and the dryer and all the rest of it. It also took us a while to get this one in because we were really worried about where we were screwing the walls like this one in, because on the other side of the wall is actually a mirror where the basins are, and we were worried that if we accidentally, because it's only like that weatherboard stuff. But yeah, here we go. It's a really good it ended up working out really well in the end, and I felt like we did a pretty good job. We ended up coming back the next day so that way we could cut up the last few bits and pieces, just to make sure that it was all done. And here we go, we're placing them in the side here so that way none of the colours will fall out. So here's me, I'm already spilling over onto the other shelf, which is absolutely terrible. But I felt like we've accomplished it. The only problem was we actually did run out of spare wood. So we do need to get a few little offcuts for the other shelf. Like literally 2 offcuts, I'm pretty sure. These are all my semi-permanent colours. Down the bottom, I keep all my developers and all the rest of it. But it's no big drama just of yet because I currently don't have anyone leasing out those extra chairs. So those extra shelves are not currently being used. But anyway, this is kind of how it works. I have all my colours on one side here. And then this spare shelf on the other, we can just come over and use to mix up colours. Off memory, this client was actually quite a cruisy one. It's just like, someone that just needs some grey coverage. So quite a crazy little day coming back and being able to use this for the very first time. I am a very short person. I am a 5'3", but I felt like it was perfectly fine. I actually felt like it's, to be honest with you, maybe like 5 centimeters too high. But for being a short person, I've managed to make it work quite well. And it's just fine. Oh yeah, I always give this little squirt. It's an oil that helps with sensitivity. I put them in all my colours. So that way, just in case someone is a little bit sensitive on the scalp, it doesn't make them so itchy. And the cool thing about this oil is you can use it as a barrier cream around the forehead. So I always put it as a barrier cream on their forehead. Getting myself my gloves so I don't make myself a mess. And then remember to put my apron on before I put colours. The same day, we actually had someone from the fire department come in. Oh, and I also managed to sell those cubes. That's someone who came to pick up the cubes, and that's the cubes finally driving away. Anyway, the fire department moved the fire extinguisher because he said the position that they were in was not compliant. So at least I know that's all done now. $200 later. But at least I know I have like a new fire extinguisher. Not too sure about the ugly sign, but you got to make sure things are compliant. And then by the weekend, the footpath was all finished. I still never learnt the story behind that one, but the owners of the building sent someone to come out and do that. So that's where I'm at. Anyway, I felt like I've blabbed on for far too long. Thank you for watching and follow along for what comes up next.